6 real disorders that make reality glitch. What if I told you your brain could betray you in ways so bizarre, so surreal that reality itself would feel like it had cracked open? I'm not talking about ordinary memory lapses or forgetting where you left your keys. I mean waking up with a new name, a new life, a new self. And the scariest part? You don't even realize anything's wrong. These are real disorders, rare, unsettling, and absolutely fascinating. Today we're going off the map into 6 of the strangest corners of the human mind. From people who believe they're corpses, to hands that attack their owners, to patients convinced their entire life is just a TV show. This isn't science fiction. This is the fragile, glitchy reality of the human brain. So sit back and maybe keep an eye on your left hand. You'll see why in a moment. Let's start with one of the most chilling dissociative fugue. Imagine this. You're in Denver, Colorado. It's early morning. A man wakes up on a sidewalk. He doesn't know his name. He doesn't know how he got there. He digs through his pockets. Nothing but $8 in cash. To the strangers walking past, he looks like a homeless man, maybe on drugs. They brush him off. But here's the truth. This man once had a fiancée, a job, a whole life. He just can't remember any of it. That man's name was Jeffrey Ingram. He went missing in 2006 and for weeks lived as John Doe, wandering in a fugue state.
It was early in the morning. I was half picking myself off of the ground, and I had no idea where I was.
Only after appearing on national TV did his fiancée recognize him and call in. To Jeff, it was like rebooting in someone else's life. His old memories were gone. His new self felt strangely normal. Dissociative fugue is not just memory loss, it's identity collapse. The brain wipes your sense of self and replaces it with silence. Yet you don't panic, you function. Sometimes people in fugue even create a brand new personality, a fresh identity that carries them forward. Loved ones think they're missing, but really, they're living, just not as the person they once were. It's usually triggered by unbearable stress, trauma, or neurological damage. And though most eventually wake up and regain at least fragments of who they were, some never get their full past back. Imagine realizing the life you remember might not even be the full story. That's not just creepy, that's reality bending. And if your whole identity can just walk away, what about a single body part? What if your left hand decided it didn't want to listen anymore? That's alien hand syndrome. People with alien hand describe it like living with a rebellious roommate attached to their body. One hand acts independently. It unbuttons shirts, the other hand just buttoned. It flicks off lights. It throws objects you were trying to hold. Sometimes it lashes out. There are cases of the alien hand slapping, scratching, even choking its own owner. The cause? Often split brain surgery, when doctors cut the bridge between the 2 hemispheres to treat severe epilepsy. Normally, your left brain controls language and speech, while your right brain handles spatial awareness, emotion, and the left side of your body. Cut the bridge, and the right hemisphere is still fully conscious, but voiceless. So it speaks through movement, and the hand becomes its mouth. One woman described sitting in a doctor's office while her left hand calmly began unbuttoning her blouse, while her right hand frantically rebuttoned it. She hadn't even noticed until the doctor pointed it out. Another said her rogue hand kept stubbing out cigarettes she had just lit, as if sabotaging her own choices. Think about what that means. There may be another you inside your head, a quiet observer, unable to speak, only able to act when the main you loses control. If your left hand just twitched a little too strangely right now, you'd be forgiven for wondering. A hand with its own agenda is disturbing, but what about a mind convinced it's already dead? That's Cotard's syndrome, the walking corpse syndrome. Patients with Cotards are utterly convinced they don't exist. Some insist their organs are gone. Others believe their body is rotting, Many refuse food or water, arguing, "Why eat? I'm already dead." It starts with depression, insomnia, despair. Then delusions bloom. And finally, the belief becomes unshakable. I am a corpse. One French patient in the 1800s insisted she had no brain, no stomach, no soul. She starved to death, saying food was pointless. Another patient believed she was immortal, reasoning that if she was dead already, nothing could kill her again. Some patients wander graveyards waiting for burial. Others isolate completely. Certain life has ended for them. Today, treatments like antipsychotics, antidepressants, or electroconvulsive therapy can sometimes pull people back. But many refuse help, because in their reality there's no point. After all, you can't treat the dead. From corpses that walk, to bugs that crawl, at least in your mind. Ekbom syndrome, also called delusional parasitosis, convinces sufferers they're infested with parasites. Mites, worms, invisible insects crawling under the skin. They itch, they scratch, they pick at their flesh until it bleeds. They bring samples to doctors, skin flakes, lint, dust, insisting they're proof of the infestation. Some even douse themselves in harsh chemicals, burning their skin, desperate to kill what isn't there. Tests come back clean. Doctors explain it's a mental disorder. But the patient insists, "You're wrong. The bugs are real." It's one of the most heartbreaking conditions to treat because the belief is so strong that many reject therapy entirely. For those who do accept it, antidepressants, antipsychotics, and cognitive therapy can help quiet the phantom infestation. But it's a delicate process. You can't just say you're imagining it, because to them, it feels real. But what if the problem isn't bugs, or being dead, or a rebellious hand? What if the problem is the simple act of recognizing what you see? That's visual agnosia. Imagine looking directly at a fire hydrant and trying to shake its hand because you thought it was a person, or staring at your wife and mistaking her for a hat. That last one actually happened. A musician referred to as Mr. P in neurologist Oliver Sacks' book once tried to pick up his wife's head and place it on his own, certain she was his hat. Visual agnosia doesn't mean blindness. The eyes see fine. The brain just fails to recognize objects. Patients can describe shapes, colors, details, but not the whole picture. Some can't recognize faces, others can't read words, others get lost in familiar places. For patients, it starts small, a few odd mistakes. But over time, the world dissolves into confusing shapes, patterns, and colors. No cure exists. Many adapt by relying on touch, sound, or routine. But it's a terrifying glimpse at how fragile recognition is and how much of reality is built not in your eyes, but in your brain. And finally, the strangest delusion of all. What if you believed your entire life was a television show? This is the Truman Show delusion. Named after the Jim Carrey movie, patients believe everyone around them, family, friends, strangers, are actors. The world is one giant set. Cameras are hidden everywhere. Every coincidence, every news story, every strange event is a scripted plot twist. Some even believe global tragedies like terrorist attacks are staged just to keep the show interesting. One man stormed the United Nations building, convinced it was the only way to escape the show. Others have attacked supposed producers or tried to expose hidden cameras. It's linked to psychosis and schizophrenia, but it's also a reflection of modern life. With phones, surveillance, and cameras literally everywhere, it's not hard for a fragile mind to conclude, I must be the star. So what do all these bizarre, unsettling disorders tell us? They reveal one shocking truth. Yourself is not a single solid thing. It's a fragile negotiation. Memory, movement, perception, belief, each handled by different brain systems. Usually they work so seamlessly you forget they're even there. But when one system falters, reality itself bends. People vanish into new lives. Hands rebel. The dead walk, bugs crawl, wives become hats, families turn into actors. And through it all, we're forced to admit reality isn't just out there. It's in here, inside your skull, and it can break. So take care of your mind, respect it, because it's the most powerful illusionist in the universe. If this episode made you rethink reality, or at least double check what your left hand is doing, hit like so more people see it. Drop a comment with the strangest brain fact you know, and tell us which of these disorders deserves a deeper dive in the next Off the Map. And if you want more journeys to the edges of science, history, and psychology, make sure to subscribe.
Because every week we go off the map.